Chadwick, can you hear me?
No one can hear me. That's the problem.
There we go.
That's the problem. I'm the problem. This whole time
I
I've
thought it was
been
me.
I've been talking
I'm
mic on mute. It's real, guys. This is real.
gonna have to drop off. Chad
Yeah.
can't see
Yeah.
me. My
Rookie.
tech's
No,
not working.
I got it. You know what? It's that mute button, man. It gets me every time. All right. So I'm gonna try to repeat what I've said for the last 5 minutes. So yo, what's up, guys?
Hey, it looked good. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, I was like,
Whatever
yeah.
you said, it looked good.
All right, so here's what I'm trying to teach you guys. No matter what happens this week, it can't be as bad as that. Okay, just look back and be like, nah, Chad definitely screwed up more. That's the win from this, guys. All right, cool. All right, so here's what we're going to roll with, guys. Welcome. No reps left behind. Today, we're going to be talking about why generic roofing proposals don't work. And if you would have heard me when I was on mute, what I said is that your clients probably are not roofing experts. So when you put together this big, massive, complex scope of work that you're going to deliver to a customer, a lot of times they're not going to be able to comprehend it or understand it like you do. And that's what we're going to be talking about today is how do you use a proposal to solve a problem or help your client get to the goal? You have to be the person that bridges, right, complex roofing terminology into the individual that's signing your contract. And the reason I said the person who's signing your contract is because it could be the owner's wife, it could be the owner, it could be someone on the other side of the United States or the other side of the world that has no idea about the service that you guys offer. They just know that they have a problem, right? It's been confirmed that you guys have the ability to fix that problem. And that's where everything starts. So it always starts with the same question, right? When you take the time to sit down with me, there's typically a problem or a goal that you're trying to achieve. And that's where everything starts. But this is ultimately where it ends, because by the time your proposal is created, you've done all of your discovery, diagnosis, demonstration, all that stuff's done, and you're actually getting to a point where you're going to deliver a proposal to your customer. I say a couple things. Number one, expect to never talk to them again. And I say that because whatever questions that should have been asked, could have been asked, variables, concerns, all that kind of different stuff, it needs to get out before you deliver the proposal. Because once you hand the proposal over again, expect to never talk to that customer again, because they have that option. And we've all been there. We've delivered the proposal to have the client go silent and never, ever respond to us. And I know most of the people around here is like, yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. So assume that you're never going to talk to them. Assume worst case scenario, they take your proposal, they see it, they compare it against somebody else, they award it to somebody else, and they don't have the confidence. I'm trying not to use a bad word right here, but they don't have the balls to be able to say, hey, guess what? You lost the job. That's really what it is, because most of the time humans avoid conflict. They avoid like uncomfortable situations. And a lot of times telling the contractor you lost the job is that uncomfortable conversation. David, have you ever been in that spot?
I just know we're gonna have to bleep out on the recording. We'll just bleep
No,
out
as
that
far as
four-letter word.
Zuckerberg doesn't get a hold of it, I'll be okay. If my Facebook profile goes away, guys, it'll be back. Just a little time, okay? Just
And the
kidding.
answer is yes. I've made all the mistakes. I've done all the wrong things at one point or another, and that's why I've figured out a better way.
All right, cool. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, guys, is really bridging that gap between I first meet you, shake your hand, what's up, problem, goal, boom, that starts the discovery, right? Now we're talking about the complete opposite side of this, which is I'm going to give you the solution to your problem, which means they have a problem big enough to act, which means they actually need outside services, and which means I should have positioned myself as the best possible solution that's out there. So when I hand them this is ultimately the playbook, right? This is how we're going to get you to your goal. Mr. Customer, you've been lost. So use that proposal as a value piece. And that's what we'll be diving into a lot today. So if you are just showing up, you're late to the show. Just kidding. But guys, we've been doing this, almost 8 months, 7 months now. It's actually pretty cool. But my name's Chad Westbrook. I'm the founder of Service Alignment. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Don't do it right now. Wait till this is over, but go check it out. So my background, commercial roofing. I have a unique niche inside the service industry, repair, maintenance, and ultimately all of that foundational work that it takes to be able to get those private negotiated replacements. And that's where my world lives. I have well over almost $1 billion, right? Over 500 million, almost under $1 billion worth of commercial roofing sales. I have implemented and sold some of the largest preventative maintenance agreements in the US, which if anybody here has truly sold preventative maintenance, it's one of the hardest things that you'll do because you're ultimately selling an insurance plan to your customer, right? They don't have any issues. Preventative maintenance is proactive. So a lot that we can do with that and something that I'm proud of with mine. But in the far side, guys, I'm a commercial roofing expert. That's what I do. That's why I'm here and continue to be able to join these and give you just a little bit of feedback on my experience in my life. All you, David.
David Bonney, founder of 45 Guys. The world that I've been through, started selling in a Fortune 500 company and, went through from there into a leadership role. After failing big, I don't know if I've told that story here, but after failing big when I first started, I sucked on my ramp. I didn't want to be in sales. I had to be. It's the only job I could get. After I played college basketball, and it was just terrible. And my manager had to talk with me and said, "Figure it out or get the hell out of here." And I wasn't gonna fail. Are you kidding me? My ego is too big for all that. So I dove in and figured it out, and I did all the hard stuff necessary, and approached all the doubt that we talk about in here with the mindset training stuff, and figured it out, and then have led big old companies and done all the stuff, and in that period of time have really figured out the things that either that you don't know, or you figure out the things that you do know that you don't know. And that's why I'm here. I want to try to give all that information to you guys so you guys don't have to struggle like I did, because I didn't have access to this type of information. All this gray hair, all that gray hair you see on there is because of that stress. And I'd like for all you guys to have nice glowing color in your hair for longer than I did. But I'm happy to be here. Happy that all of you guys are here, and we're really going to dig into it. We're going to go against what you guys have seen and what you guys have typically done, for a reason. There's a much better way to do it, and it's going to differentiate you. And it's going to cause you to rise to the stack of, how do you say it, Chad? Rise to the top of the stack of PDF proposals,
right?
That nobody wants to look through.
That's right. That's right. We'll talk about that today, right? Like, where do you guys end up? Do you end up in the folder, or do you end up inside junk or red or like snoozed? There's a big variable inside all of that, right? Helping the client, again, get clarity and confidence inside what they're doing. The one thing I will throw, David, is that all of your gray hair is why you have a seat on the panelist table right there. So
that's right. That's right.
Gray hair means something. Okay.
It makes me look wiser than I am.
I got some, but I got a hat on today to hide it. So
you don't have any
their own, right? Again, you can't do anything worse than muting yourself for the first 5 minutes of a webinar you're hosting. Just remember that, guys. Nothing worse. All right, cool. All right, so let's do this. So you guys, I think I have a lot of returning people here, but I do want to talk about something that we're doing on a larger side. So No Reps Left Behind is ultimately about the foundation, right? So when you're inside sales, you got to know the questions to be able to ask. You got to be confident with your process, because process is ultimately what results in success. You start doing something that works. Well, guess what? Let's keep doing that if it works. Why do we show up to a meeting and ask a different question than the one that worked in the last meeting? And that type of inconsistency is ultimately what drives inconsistency inside sales and forecasting and everything else that kind of goes with it. So there are two things that I want to talk about, which is tied in directly. So again, No Reps Left Behind, guys. You are here because you want to be here, and I love that. There is no cost for you guys to be here. It's show up, invest into yourself, and ultimately end this with taking something from it and implementing it into your book of business. That's awesome. There's two different areas, or I'll say advanced areas that we work on. One is Rainmaker, and Rainmaker ultimately is for busy owners, right? So if you're a sales rep here, that's absolutely fabulous and that's awesome. But put yourself inside the side, busy owners that ultimately are looking to be able to scale the business, right? So they want to be able to duplicate their success as an owner, right? But ultimately, they need to be in operations. They need to be in different parts of the business. And typically what I see happen is you guys, sales reps, are left to be able to fend and develop your own process and hopefully, it's success and win, but it's hard. I've been there inside many times. I've seen a lot of people go through it. And that's ultimately what our Rainmaker program is the ability to be able to have those Monday morning sales meetings, be able to have that process training and one-on-ones, ultimately with someone who's going to help you grow your book of business and create that secret formula that you guys have. The second one, which is probably the coolest one, is War Room, guys. So War Room is for sales leaders. So if you're in here and you are a leader and you want to be able to collaborate with other leaders and figure out how are they solving situations in their unique regions of the US, that's what it is. It is a sales-focused mastermind that ultimately you can show up. We can be humble about some of the problems, right? Or roadblocks, walls, whatever you want to call it within our structure. Everybody's growing, right? And growth comes problems. That's okay. But we talk about that inside a leadership mastermind side. So it's taking No Reps Left Behind and everything that you guys are learning here, and it's taking it to the next level of how do you multiply your sales reps and how do you learn ultimately from the best individuals, the best leaders in the US. And this is what I'm putting together. So again, we talk about raising that floor, guys. This is how we're doing it. And we're going well beyond what No Reps Left Behind delivers to you. David, anything you want to add to this, sir?
Nope. Well, yes. Let me just say this. In terms of sales enablement and training, we can never do enough of that, guys. We need more support in the industry. We need more support for our teams. We personally feel like not only is this content different than anything else out there, but these programs are specifically designed to get to levels of adoption and results that just aren't out there. So we're really excited about it. It's just super important for all of us to recognize in the industry. We need more focus on it.
There you go. Absolutely. Next slide here, sir. You want to take us through this?
Yep. So essentially, guys, this was from the annual State of Sales report by LinkedIn. Their survey results basically said that 68% potential buyers do not want to interact with a salesperson at all during their buying process. So, I mean, just think about that. It's nearly 70% of people would choose to buy something without us there, but we have to be there, unfortunately, in a complex selling environment. Unfortunately, we have to be. In other areas where they're not necessary, you can see they're getting bypassed all the time as much as possible. But the stats are clear that we're clearly doing something here. If we really just want to be more clear with what this means is our prospects don't want to talk to us. That sucks, right? People are coming to us because they're in pain and they want to solve their problems. And what do we meet them with? Want to buy my stuff? Maybe if it solves my problems. No. Can I tell you about my stuff so you can buy my stuff? And we call this the buyer-seller misalignment. And it's rampant. It's not just in roofing. It is everywhere. And it creates this wall of disconnect. This goes back to that doctor visit or date. The courtship environment is, do you like me? You like me? I want you to like me. I want you to like me. That's not a part of why I'm going to the doctor. Sure, I want my doctor to be nice. I care about whether or not he's going to be able to help me get healthy or not. Be the nicest dude in the world. But if I go there sick and I'm still sick a week later, I don't ever want to go back to you. Good bedside manner is fine, but we need to help people, our prospects and our buyers, solve their problems, and we need to get rid of this misalignment. Now, next slide. Now, when we're going through this, we're going to show you why, when we're talking about why proposals suck, this is on that right side of the graphic that I just showed you. This is what we're doing. Do you like us? Do you like us? Do you want to buy our stuff? Do you want to buy our stuff? Versus what we need to be doing and helping them solve their problems. So keep that in mind. We're literally doing what our prospects are not wanting us to do with them. And then we wonder why they give us a bunch of pushback and they wonder why they don't want to talk to us. All right. so we'll start with buyer's intent. Why are people looking or engaging in a sales process looking for a product or service? Well, they intend to find a solution, and hopefully the best solution, to solve the actual problems that are causing them enough pain and keeping them from important outcomes. This is why people engage in the sales process. This is it. They want to solve their problems. Our solution only matters as much as it aligns to the actual problems that they're dealing with. And the actual problems only matter as much as the amount of pain it's causing them. They got a lot of problems. I don't go solve them all. Right? And that tension gets created with the keeping them from important outcomes. Now, what is it we call? We want you guys to step into the frame of being a trusted advisor, right? We're not doctors. We are salespeople, right? But we're not slimy salespeople. We're not the old school sellers. We want to be trusted advisors. Okay. What is our intention as trusted advisors? Our intention is we intend to help them find the solution to solve the actual problems causing them enough pain, keeping them from important outcomes. And the key differentiation, and we talked to you guys about this at the very top, in doing this, to becoming that trusted advisor, you not only get that one sale, but you get repeat business because you are now on their team. Okay. And just like we said before, while everybody else is confusing the hell out of them, it's not about finding the best solution. You guys are the only solution that I can really think of, because everybody else is just trying to pitch me their stuff. You're the only one that's taking me through a process that's actually identified my actual problems, the pain causing it, helping me figure out if I need to take action on it, and what the outcomes would be. It's a low bar. Go ahead, Chet.
These types, I'm doing my best not to interrupt you today.
Oh,
These types of interactions, guys, are very, I won't say very easy, but like from my side, I've had a few of these. I've had a handful of these types of relationships, and they're the most enjoyable to be in, right? We all have the customer that sucks, right? We don't like him. He beats us up for price. He doesn't respect what we do. He's always he's always not logical about it, right? But then I think about some of the best relationships I had, and I was a trusted advisor inside there. They had an issue, they called me, and they expected me to be able to help them solve that problem. Right? We think about the commodity contractor goes up there and it's like, nope, it's not, nope, it's the HVAC unit. See you guys. That's someone else's problem. You send your bill, right? And then you have the trusted advisor side to be able to say, hey, we've water tested the roof. We found that it's not there. We'd be happy to be able to meet with the HVAC contractor on site to figure out the problem. I'm not telling you a process, guys. I'm just telling you, like, that's the trusted advisor path, right? To where you can actually become trusted in helping them rather than trying to sell them. And the part that I love about this, the buyer-seller misalignment, is that I constantly and continue to be able to see this in every presentation, email, proposal, all that kind of different stuff, is that you guys are sending a proposal that has a scope of work for exactly what you do. Okay, that's great. Covers your guys' ass. You don't have to worry about it because it's black and white for exactly what you're doing, right? You're ripping the roof up, you're putting down new 60 mil level, whatever. That's great. That's not why your client is buying it. That's not why your client is spending $200,000 on a roof or $2,000 on a repair. It doesn't matter. That's not why he's buying it. That's the whole thing behind this sales process, right? They want to solve their problems. Their problem is the slip ball hazard as soon as they have water on the floor, having to move people around or whatever it is. It's their problem. It's unique to them. So go in, find out what it is. As long as you guys continue to be able to try to sell a proposal, a product, or a service, you're never going to get inside that trusted advisor side to where you're actually helping them solve the problem that they have or get them to the goal that they can't get to. That's the mind shift. And I've been in it specifically. I sent an email this week, and it was because I got copied on like 5 or 6 different proposals that got sent out by this sales rep. And every proposal was exactly the same. Please take a look at the attached proposal. We will be cleaning out the gutters, stripping in seams, and fixing punctures throughout the membrane. David, what do you think the client, when he reads that, like, what do you think he thinks?
Blah, 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 blah. Charlie Brown?
I guess this is going to stop the leaks. I'm going to buy this because the roofer said This is what I have to do to stop the leaks. He then assumes, right? Anybody ever have a client assume that what they were buying was fixing their problem when really you guys as contractors were just repairing deficiencies on the roof? And then he calls you back and says, hey, it's still leaking in the same spot. Can you guys come out and fix it? And he wants you to do it for free. And then you get back out there and you say, oh, no. This is a much larger issue. I fixed this right here. This is not this. That's the exact thing that we're talking about right now, guys, is that the client calls you out because he has a problem or a goal. And if we have good discovery, right, why don't we have a good proposal presentation? So when we go through this, why do your proposals suck? Number one, a poor discovery, right? Creates prospect confusion. And Davey, you said it best. When a prospect is confused, what happens? They don't act. Yeah, they don't take action. They stall. They look for a proposal for someone else. They talk to somebody else. That's what they do. Now, there are times, obviously, where you got to get 3 bids because that's the corporate process. That's fine, right? I've been in many corporate processes where you had to get 3 bids, and sorry to everybody else, I got the job before you even got those 2 bids. There are ways to be able to create that trusted advisor relationship, right? Regardless of what the process is. And it takes a long time, right? It doesn't always take a long time, but it takes a lot of trust, right? It takes you a lot of this process. And that's what David and I have really rolled out. So poor discovery, guys, if you are not investing 100% of your energy into the discovery process, it's going to be a very, very hard road to be able to increase the amount of revenue that you guys are putting on the board. That's going to be a struggle. So we talk about the buyer-centric playbook, right? It's all here, guys. Checkbox 1, do they need to act, right? Do they know why they scheduled the meeting? Are the decision makers present? Because if they're not, you're talking to the wrong person. He's going to go sell your product, and it's probably going to sell your service solution, right? And it's probably going to be at 50% at best of how you can sell your own service solution, right? And go through that discovery side. Have they tried to solve this before? It's a great question. Everyone's always scared to ask if they're working with another roofer. Everyone's always scared to be able to say, have you guys tried anything? What have you guys awarded to be able to fix this? They're really easy questions. It's only awkward if you guys make it awkward. Okay? Ask the questions, because just like a doctor's not going to be scared to be able to ask you the awkward question, because that's what he needs to know to bring the solution to you, right? He's afraid to be able to ask you what medicine you've taken. What have you tried inside the past? What worked, what didn't? It's no different, right? Checkbox number 2, do they actually need new or outside help? It's massive. Don't make the assumption, ask the question. I have been, and I can tell you over 10, where I've told the client specifically to their face, I don't think this problem is big enough for you guys to spend $200,000 on this. And I can specifically tell you the name and the time where the client came back and said, I disagree, this is big enough because, boom. And it was one of the best conversations I had, because he and I were we were getting aligned in that conversation, right? I went through my things and I didn't think it was big enough, but I was not walking away from that situation assuming. So I asked the question. I said, it doesn't seem like this is a big enough problem. He goes, I disagree, it is. And I said, all right, talk to me. What am I missing here? And we were talking as a trusted advisor. I was on the same side of the table as him. I wasn't a contractor trying to sell a roof replacement, having this, you said you're going to replace your roof. Oh, that's great. Okay, cool. I can get you a proposal. I was on the opposite side, creating clarity to be able to say, man, do you really need to spend $200,000 on this issue? Because the only thing that's going to happen is when he gets confusion, or when the problem's not big enough to act, they're going to stall, guys. And these are the proposals that you guys are delivering. These are the proposals that are still sitting in your book of business right now, right? Open it up, go to opportunities. And then I want you to sort by created date. This is the date that you created the opportunity. Even better, I want you to sort by the quoted date. How long ago did you quote that job? And why has it taken him from right then, from that date till right now to award it? That's how big the problem is. That's how well we've done at reframing all of it, right? And this is ultimately the 3 check boxes that we're going through, right? Are there enough is the expected outcome enough to fund a solution? Do they have an adequate budget, right? We've talked about this. I'm not asking what the budget is. I'm asking, how do you budget for projects like this? I'm learning about his process and how he goes about it, because that's going to allow me to be able to, again, have better alignment to understanding what roadblocks, bumps, walls that he's going to have to go over. and how can I help him solve this problem? Because he and I both have the same problem, right? My service, my product solves his problem. So how do we align those? That's what we're talking about. Finally, checkpoint 3, right? This is where we position ourselves as the best solution. And I've said this many times, and I'll say it, guys, if you do not have a unique presentation for each product or service that you guys offer, you are shooting yourself in the foot. If you are an expert at solving roof leaks, which means you guys have a service department, and if someone has a roof leak, you guys have a 24/7 number and all this kind of different great stuff, you should be communicating that, because that's the special sauce, or part of the special sauce, that makes you guys an expert at solving leaks inside your metro or territory or whatever it is. If you're roof replacements, if it's liquid membranes, if it's waterproofing, I don't care what the product is. You have to be able to position yourself as the best option for that customer, because if you don't, you're going to be a commodity in that. It's great that you guys do everything that has to do with a roof, but if you don't have a way to be able to make yourself an expert, you're going to be seen as a commodity or a general contractor, right? It's like, yeah, I think they do repairs. They're giving us a roof replacement number on there. No. What's the problem, right? What's the problem? What's the goal? And how do we make ourselves unique to that situation to where that clarity and confidence comes back? David, what do you want to add to these 3 check boxes, sir?
This is not, guys, at the end of the day, these are not nice to haves. Either your prospects already have the answer to the first 2, and they have a bias towards these 3, and they're going to close on their own. Somebody that's in high pain, somebody that knows they're going to use an outside service, and somebody that's just let's just say they were just a hot referral from one of your best clients. That person's going to close as long as you don't screw it up. But for the vast majority of opportunities that you're dealing with, if they do not already know one of these 3 pieces of information and you don't change it, they're not going to close. Period. This is not nice to have. If they do not see that they need to take action on this, they will stall and they will not do anything. Time is not our friend. If they don't think they need outside help, it's always faster to get it done with your own resources and cheaper. Sunk cost. And if you cannot connect the dots between their problems, their actual problems, and your solution, they will just choose based on price. If they are going to choose something. You have got to have these 3 questions rolling around in all the trainings that I do. Oh, guys, you should hear it. Oh, some of our teams, holy smokes, starting to get fired up. We do pop quizzes now. What are they? What are the checkpoints? Because if you don't have these memorized and you are not actively checking them off as you're going through the sales process, and if you're not actively checking these off, your deal is vulnerable and it is most likely not going to close, and that's your fault, not anybody else's. And I say that because I love you.
You guys aren't even talking back, but there's not even questions in the chat, and you got like sales manager David in the seat now.
I know. Oh, I'm so sorry.
You're good. You're good. You're good. This is all real, guys. This is 100% real. So number 1, and I'm just gonna be direct about it, right? Your discovery process sucks. You show up, you see that they have a problem that fits the product or service that you sell. So guess what? I'm going to deliver them a proposal. And ultimately you sit there, you wait until either A, you continue to wait because you don't want to take it out of your book of business because debt is bad. That's wrong, by the way. Or number 2, you continue to follow up. And you just keep following up and following up and following up. And that's wasting time, energy, money, everything else. Short story time with Chad. I had a conversation with a sales rep based out of the West Coast. And he asked me a really good question. He goes, well, so what is the one thing coming in? So he's been training for a few weeks. He hasn't been released yet. And he goes, what's the one thing that's going to help me be successful? And I thought about it. I was like, that's a really good question. I said, protect your time. I think that to me is the number 1 thing. Protect your time, man, because that's all you got. That's the one thing you cannot get back is your time, right? So don't waste your time on stuff that is a maybe. Don't waste your time on stuff that doesn't advance you as an individual, right? Don't waste your time. So a client calls and says, hey, can you come out and meet with us? You say, yeah, no problem. And you jump into the car and you drive halfway across town to like kill your entire day, which is Monday, right? Which should be your day for setting your week up. And now everything is just out the window. It's about time, guys. discover and disqualify, right? We say it inside each one of these. Know your walk away point. It's okay to walk away. The way you increase your close ratio is putting better opportunities in the pipeline, right? Increasing close ratio is not quoting more jobs. Increasing close ratio is not changing your pitch or anything else like that. It's just put better opportunities in your book of business, which all starts at the top of the funnel. All right. Number two, your proposal doesn't cut through the noise. So that's the second reason that ultimately your proposals suck. And when I say cut through the noise, I mean everything else that's going on. And we've talked a little bit about this, right? So look at this on the right. I know it's not pretty, but at the end of the day, guys, you're probably thinking it's like, yeah, ours kind of looked like that. Because you might know how beautiful your proposal is, right? And you might have pictures in it, which is great. But at the end of the day, what your customer gets, what your non-professional roofing customer gets, what your property manager gets is something that looks like this, right? And it could be 3, 4, 5, 6 pages long, whatever it is. I've seen a Centermark one that literally is a book, right? It's got submittals in it. And like that is not, right, what is solving their problem. Now, that's the recipe to solve their problem. That's the scope of work to solve the problem, right? Or get them to their goal. But what you guys have to do in the delivery phase is be able to take your proposal, right, and craft it inside a way that allows you guys to be unique, that allows your client to have clarity and confidence, right? So when you deliver a proposal like this, if you are a sales rep who is shooting off an email that says, please see the attached proposal, let me know when you'd like to move forward, you are literally feeding your client to the wolves, because you're saying, you know what? You figure this out. You look at the photos, you read it. And when you don't know what a scupper is, guys, when your client doesn't know what a scupper is, what do you think's happening?
Who doesn't know what a scupper is, though, honestly?
Amen. Amen.
That's
Just saying. That's what you're dealing with, guys. So we got to be able to break this down. We got to make it simple, right? You got to be able to see, hey, here's the problem, right? When we first came, you talked about this problem. We talked about, this outcome, right? So we'll dive in a little bit about the workspace, right? But this is where it goes south. The gap is obvious because they're hiring a professional contractor to come in and fix the problem that they have. And what happens is they assume, right? Your client assumes that the big, long 7-page document that does have a number at the bottom, by the way, I did see the number, that's going to fix the problem, right? Yeah, no, I got 3 bids. I do this all the time, guys. Yep, I got 3 bids. Yep, they're all putting on a 60 mil TPO roof. Okay, are you putting on new coping? Is there new downspouts, collector heads and downspouts that you're putting on? Okay. Is the termination, are you going up and over the wall, or are you terminating 12 inches up? You think your customer knows that, guys? That's where trusted advisors come in and ensure that they're getting the right job, right? Or ensure that they're getting the right product. And we're explaining that because we're positioning ourselves as an expert inside the room. We have to be able to do that, because if you guys are losing jobs to details like I just mentioned, that is a presentation problem. That is a discovery problem, guys. Because once you deliver the proposal, assume that you will never talk to them again. Don't let your client assume. It's the biggest thing I'm putting out here, guys. All right, so you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. James Clear, if you guys haven't read it, Atomic Habits, is a wonderful and beautiful book. But what this basically means is that I don't care what your goals are as a sales rep. I don't care what your goals are as a company. If you don't have the processes, the technology, and the people to be able to support all of this, you're never going to get there. It's great to have a vision. It's great to have all of that different stuff inside place. But as a sales rep, if you do not have someone or something helping you, you are only as good as your systems, which means you're only as good as your brain remembering what's going on, or you're only as good as the Post-it that's on the dash of your truck when you're somewhere else and you don't know what it is, or that Post-it blows out the window driving down the road. That's the level of your system, guys. And it's rough, it's hard, but if you don't have something working for you, I say CRM, I know it's an ugly, mean word, but there are ways to be able to use a CRM where it actually helps you. There's ways to use a task manager where it actually helps you. There's ways to be able to use all of this great technology, but if it doesn't make it better, faster, and easier, guys, even from a sales side, it's going to be hard and difficult, and you're going to avoid using it. So you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
Can I just say something on this real quick?
Yes, sir.
So if we just go back to that slide real quick, and guys, I just want to add one thing on this, and this is just it's a little to the heart here, but the goals thing, this is a systemic problem we have in our industry. Salespeople are always setting these aggressive goals. It's my goal. No, here's my goal. How are you going to achieve it? What's your plan? It all comes down. It's like a house of cards. And we set ourselves up for failure over and over again. Oh, I got goals. I got goals. No, my goals can't be achievable. That's somehow some mark of disgrace, right? Honest to salespeople, Chad, if we have an achievable goal, right? But what achievable means when you guys don't have systems, it means suddenly a number that you're just going to hit no matter what. Right? Yeah, okay, that is disgraceful. Some number that you could hit no matter what you do, just by waking up and going into the office every single day. But we set ourselves up for these goals and we miss them, and we miss them, and we miss them, and we miss them, and we wonder why morale is so low. We wonder why people churn through the sales industry. We wonder why a lot of salespeople are grumpy if they've been in it for a long time. This is one of the reasons why. Stop missing goals. Set goals that are going to crush it for your commission checks, but have the systems in place to ensure that you can hit them with a very small plus minus differential. You should be able to predict what you're going to be able to do every single month, because it's a law of numbers, a law of averages, right? That's the sales magic trick. That's the strategic sales plan that we teach in our programs. You guys should have predictable numbers every single month. If you don't, you're doing it wrong. And ask us for help. We're more than happy to help you.
Nicely put. All right. So guys, this is where I'm challenging you guys to be able to look at it, right? I said the most important thing that I told that sales rep is protect your time, right? So what gains you more time? You guys have 24 hours in a day, just like everybody else inside the world, but how you choose to use it, what's the highest priority, right? That you guys need to accomplish. And I promise you, if something massive, devastating was happening inside your life and it had to happen by the end of the day today, you would use whatever resources you had to be able to get it done. That's truly what Atomic Habits is. It's a great book. You can find it on Audible. You can find the hard copy, anything else like that. It's a great book that really puts those things in perspective, but it's finding that process. And whatever process I have might not work for you. Whatever you have might not work for me, and vice versa across the way. Find what works for you, but make sure that it gains your time and protects your time. Things we need to think of. All right, so we're going to transfer a little bit. So you guys remember, number 2 is ultimately doing a really, really poor job of taking your proposal and positioning it to be able to solve the client's problem, or positioning it to be able to help your client be able to get to the goal. And the way you have to do that is you have to have a way to be able to revisit what happened. There's so much that happens from the time I first meet with a customer that tells me he wants to replace his roof to the time that I deliver a proposal to him. Great part could be 1 week, horrible part could be 4 weeks, right? However long it takes me to be able to put that proposal and get it to him, there's so much that happens in between there, because the conversations he's having with me, chances are he's having that conversation with somebody else. And if somebody else is giving him additional information or other ways, and this is a real 100% story that I'll explain this, and it is going to be some roofing jargon, so I apologize, David. But customer I was working with was doing a reskin on an EPDM roof, rock. Okay. Pull it back. We put new reskin down. Doesn't count as a second system. It's a great, simple, quick way to be able to put a new roof back on. The other contractor, which we did not know this until we went into the meeting, was taking all of the rock off and was putting down, mechanically attaching a TPO system. Now, David, and the easiest way to think about this is that we have 100,000 pounds worth of rock that's on this roof holding it down. When we take it off, it's called deck inflection. The deck actually moves, right? Because all that weight is coming out, which can shift walls, doors, windows. I mean, it can literally destroy a building. That is what changed, guys. We went into the meeting and we went back to where we were, and to be able to say, hey, this is what we're thinking of. This is what's going on. And I addressed the elephant inside the room. Are there any other proposals that you're looking at that's different than the one that we're doing? That's different than what we're proposing? And he goes, actually, yes. Oh, tell me more, right? And he went in and he said, we're actually looking at putting a TPO roof down. And I'm like, we're taking the rock off. I was like, have you had a building engineer look at this? He's like, no. We went into a whole different conversation where I became that trusted advisor that at the end of the day, if he didn't award my proposal, I'm saying this in the nicest, most humble way, I don't care, but I surely do not want all of this rock coming off that roof and creating an issue that's ultimately going to result in you having to have hundreds, millions of dollars, right, fixing this problem. That was the trusted advisor side, right, when I took that and figured it out. But going back to it, guys, I'm going to circle back. If you don't have a way to be able to circle back, a way to be able to clearly define in the most beautiful way, a thing about the meeting summary here is that your customer can read it himself. And your customer can say, nope, that's not right. That's not what we said, or whatever the variable is. That's the buyer settlement alignment, right? What's going on? What's your world? What's your goal? What's stopping you from getting there? What's the worst thing that's going to happen? That's the beautiful part about having a workspace, right? Where you guys can actually utilize it. Technology should make things easier, better, and faster, okay? This is the habit of having to ask all of those questions, and this is the result of asking the right questions that's going to allow you guys to be able to have that buyer-seller alignment, right? Not have that 2 degrees of separation. Anything you want to add to this slide, David?
No, I think that was perfect.
Okay, awesome. The other things is that we have the guiding decision, right? If you're asking the questions 1 through 10, how big of a priority is this? Right? I'm in that discovery mode, finding out what it is. You told me it was a 9, dude. You told me there was nothing more important than getting this project done. Is that still there? Yeah, no, dude, this is number 1. That's the start of forecasting sales, guys. You got a customer that's telling you that there's nothing more important in his job than getting this awarded. That 1 through 10 metric works amazing, right? Now, there's not a date associated with it. We still got to get that commitment date, but it's at least beginning to tell you how important is this. It's beginning to tell you, do they have the ability to do it on their own? Have they done it on their own inside the past? Which again is going to give you a feel of how confident you guys are that project's going to come back to you. Ask the questions, don't ever assume, and having a workspace like this is going to allow you to be able to have that complete alignment specifically with your customer.
Yeah, and I will add something on this. This goes back to my rant, guys, on the checkpoints. Confirm this. These are your opportunities to confirm if they do need to take action and they actually do need outside help. If you're not leveraging this stuff, if you're not confirming it over and over again, you've got a breakdown. You have a breakdown, and you're setting yourself up for failure.
100%. 100%. All right, cool. So let's go into number 3, guys. Why your proposals suck. Number 3, your solution presentation is inconsistent. That's the easy and most direct way that I can say, is because when you're going into a presentation, you guys are delivering your proposal based upon the deficiencies that you found. I just called everybody out for their presentation style, didn't I? It's like, well, here's your building, and here are the deficiencies that we found, and here's the price for each one of these deficiencies. And guess what? He doesn't care because he doesn't know roofing. If anything, he's using all of his processing power to try to understand, what am I looking at, right? Where is that on the roof? And okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Wow, that's going on up there. That's crazy. That's your job as a professional, right? You're going to give him the details. You're going to give him the formula, right? To be able to get him to where it is. But use this time to truly make yourself a professional inside what you're doing. Go inside there, right? Make a promise to them. We're going to fix your leaks so you can focus on what matters. That's what we do. So when I show you this proposal, this is the answer to get you to the goals that we spoke about. Does that make sense? Let me tell you why we exist. We exist for the exact problem that you have. If you guys don't have a consistent way of being able to present, it's only going to hinder you guys in continued success. It's only going to hinder your management and sales leadership team in figuring out, how do they bring somebody on board, right? And if you are this individual, how do you bring someone on board and you give them a recipe to be able to say, based upon the last X amount of months or years, we make X amount of calls, which gets us X amount of meetings, which gets us X amount of proposals, which gets us X amount of sales, based upon this methodology, based upon these questions. That's how you scale a business, guys. You have consistency in what you deliver, and you check the 3 boxes, right? Is the problem big enough for them to actually act? If not, disqualify. Do they actually need outside help? If not, disqualify. And finally, if you're going to go to checkbox 3, you better position yourself as an expert, because when you deliver that proposal, assume that you're never going to talk to them again. That's the easiest, most direct way that I can put it. Now, I do want to share the workspace with you guys. And I know we went through this before. I'm going to make this a little bit wider for you guys so you can see it on my widescreen. All of this is live. And for those that are not using this, that is on this meeting, right? If you guys are a part of the Make Sales Work side, you have access to this. We can start working on some of this stuff, get you the long form so you can have consistency inside what you're delivering, right? Take your workspace. You guys have the questions. We've given you the buyer journey, right? We've given you that entire side. That's all of these questions right here. It allows you to be able to review it with them inside real time. It allows you to be able to go back to the priority level, even put a video in. If you want to have something unique that's going to talk about your business, what's your special sauce and why you guys are great, put it in. That's what this is here for. This is to be able to build your reputation. This is to be able to take all of the issues and concerns and problems out of the way, so you guys can leave an expert to say, we know exactly what your problem is. We know exactly how to solve it because of X. And that's exactly what the solution roadmap does. It gives you a presentation that's consistent. We promise to fix your leaks. Here's why we exist. This is what success looks like. Customers that work for us typically see this. And how do I know that? Because we have a proven track record of success. Here it is. What's the methodology behind it? It's actually pretty simple. Fix it fast, fix it right, fix it for life. And then you explain what each one of those are. Steps forward, it doesn't matter if I've been inside this business for 5 minutes or 5 years. I'm reading what's on the screen. I'm making this consistent, and that's where success comes from. So guys, as a sales rep, figure out what goes great. And I'm going to tell you from my side, and I had this conversation earlier this week with David. You talk about anxiety of going to speak in front of a room of 20 plus people. That sucks sometimes, especially if you're like, oh man, these people are walking in, they all look different. I don't know what I'm going to say. Am I going to mess my presentation up? You shouldn't have that, because the way you started is actually super simple. What's up, guys? I can assume this morning you didn't plan on sitting down with a roofer. Am I right? All right, cool. Talk to me. What's the problem or goal that we're trying to solve today? What's going on in your guys' world? That's it. That's how you start the conversation, guys. And then you go in and you just ask the questions. It's not crazy when you have consistency. It's actually easy. And that's how you duplicate success. So what I'm sharing with you guys is exactly what we went through, right? The alignment checklist. We've talked about these 3 things. They are insanely important, because we shouldn't have to ask for the close. We shouldn't have to follow up a week later and say, hey, just wanted to check in on what's going on. Step 1, right? Best practices, never leave the meeting without your next action. That's number 1, right? Because they're not always going to sign it right there. I got to take it to the board. We got to go through a purchasing process. Again, that's all 1, right? How do you typically budget for something like this? You understand what that process is. So good discovery will help you even on this side. 3 questions we need to ask. Are we still aligned to the actual problems causing your guys' pain? Has anything changed, right? Are you clear on how we solve this issue? Are you clear on how we are different? If not, go back up. Don't pass go. Don't deliver the proposal, because assume that you're never going to talk to them again. And in the absence of information, they will make their own up. I stole that from you, David. I stole it. You got it. All right. Question number 2, are they still aligned to the expected outcomes if we were to solve these problems? Which means, are we still in the same path? If we were to do this and get this outcome, is this still where you guys want to be? Is the expected ROI sufficient, right? That's what I said. Guys, this doesn't seem like a $500,000 problem. Am I wrong? Right? You want to replace the roof. What's going on? Why would we spend $500,000 replacing this roof? There's nothing in there. Oh, someone just leased the building and you got a 20-year lease and you got to make sure it's dry. Okay, that makes sense. Again, don't be afraid to ask those questions, right? Are still aligned to the expected outcomes. And then number 3, do we have the right solution, right? Are you confident that we have the right solution to be able to solve your current problems and create the desired outcomes, right? Are you confident that with our process, our secret sauce, that we're able to take the problems that you guys have, since we've solved this 99.56% of the time on the first try, are you guys confident that we can do the same thing for you? Do we have the 3 check boxes checked? That's how you get to the point of confidence. That's how you get to the point of consistency. It's those same questions. And guys, when you know the questions that are coming up because you presented it 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 times, you just get natural with it. You get confident with it. You start having fun with it. You start making it into actually having a personality. And that's the cool part that aligns all this. David, anything you want to add to this, sir?
It's formulaic, guys. This is a great example of what Chad was talking about in terms of the systems that you will fall to. When you have a consistent close process that guides them towards a decision and allows you to see the phrase and what and how they're currently thinking about each individual issue that will drive them to make a logical decision. It's a hell of a lot easier than either hard closing or let me know.
So
we need to get more strategic and more methodical about it, guys. We're sales professionals.
I wanted to share this because I've had a lot of conversations in the past several weeks that talked about playbooks and creating playbooks and even utilizing, right, the 4D process that we have. And it's like, well, you know what? My world's a little bit unique, and that's fine, right? It's great that you guys have a little bit of a unique world because that's called a niche. But I want you guys to know that there is a playbook that's made. The questions that we're giving you guys is based upon a playbook that is already created, that is already in place, that you guys have the ability to be able to access. Right? So don't think that you guys have to recreate the wheel. Don't think that you have to implement something new or figure out how these processes or questions integrate into what you guys have. This is already part of an entire sales process that I've been using for years. David has continued to use for years, and we perfected throughout, the relationship and what you guys have today. So it's a really cool feature that you guys have, right? That to be able to access that playbook and utilize it for the greater good of you guys on how are you going to win your game. As a sales rep, you're in your own game. It's a huge, huge part of understanding how that works. The last thing is what I'm going to give you guys, and this is something that I don't talk about enough. David's not aware of me actually pulling this up, but it's an assessment that David created that is absolutely phenomenal. And what happens is you guys can find out what is your archetype. And David, I'll kind of let you explain this because I think you're probably going to do it better than me, to where you guys can truly figure out what's your personality type by sales, which is completely different. So you want to take us through this real quick, David?
Yeah. So essentially what the assessment is, guys, it's like Chad said, this is directly sales focused. This is not like other personality assessments that are more general and vague. This is directly correlated to sales and aligned to the pieces of the sales conversation that we need to be able to execute on effectively, and how our natural hardwiring keeps us from being able to do that. Okay. So in this assessment, you go through and you'll either be an advocate, which is Chad. You'll be a driver or a hustler, which is me, or you might be an order taker. But what we want to become is we want to become a trusted advisor. Now, we call it the chasm assessment because to become a trusted advisor, you need to understand which quadrant you're in. You need to understand where your hardwiring is getting in your own way. When our reps take this assessment, I immediately know where they struggle in the sales process and where they have to lean in on their training and their execution, and being mindful against those areas that naturally make them uncomfortable, which discomfort keeps us from doing things. Okay. That chasm is what you need to cross. We're not just going to tell you to become a trusted advisor. We're going to give you the process, the 4D sales process. We're going to give you the platform, 45, and we're going to give you the personality assessment and the personality archetype feedback that you need to be able to get there. All of the other sales training out there, call it good, call it whatever you want. The magical pixie dust that they say, oh, next time somebody doesn't respond, do this. All that is crap in our opinion. We are giving you guys the brass tacks processes. We're giving you the technology. We're giving you the personality assessment stuff that you need, because we're not just going to expect you to figure out how to become a trusted advisor on your own. Oh, Chad and David said, become a trusted advisor. Now I got to go do the rest of the heavy lifting here, right? Be more consultative, be more buyer centric. What the hell does that mean? Well, what it means is exactly all the stuff that we're giving you here. We want the rubber to hit the road.
It means, right? Because I'm an advocate. And what that means is I naturally protect my customers. And it's absolutely true, right? When I speak to someone, right, I protect them. I make up ultimately, situations or make assumptions to it. And it's like, do I want to ask that question? It's like, nah, that's a mean question, dude. Don't do that. That's my natural type. Like that's who I am, right? But in order to be able to get the client from where they are right now to where they want to be, I got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's my natural style, right? That's not just like who's, I all of a sudden I'm scared to ask a question. That's not the fact at all. It's just my natural style for who I am. Sometimes I'm hesitant to be able to ask questions because I'm like, man, that's weird, right? That's awkward. I'm telling you guys, and I sit inside that seat every day, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because you got to ask the questions that are truly going to make a difference. You got to ask the questions that are going to challenge your customer to be able to act. So don't think that David and I sit inside this world and we're created this archetype of trusted advisor, right? Based upon who he and I are. That's not the fact at all. I struggle with this every day, guys, of understanding what my natural type is and then making sure that the questions that I ask are in the best interest of the customer. And sometimes that's hard for me. Sometimes that's awkward for me, but I do it because of the greater good of the customer and making sure that we're solving the problem or getting him to the goal, right? And it's what needs to happen. So recognizing that self-awareness is a huge part of that. So I dropped it in the chat. If you guys want to check it out, it's absolutely free. You can take it, start the video. It'll teach you about all of the different types. So if you want to know the hustler or whatever else, what is inside there, it's super, super cool. And this is just, guys, another tool for you guys to be able to use to be able to help take your sales career to the next level. Talk about raising the floor. This is where it happens. Cool.
Awesome.
We got 1 minute. I did it again, guys. So it's in the chat. If you guys are not on Zoom, hit me up on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you guys are watching this, reach out to me. It's very easy, servicealignment.com. Hit the contact us and I'll hook you up with the assessment if you guys need help getting to it or wherever it is. But 100% free, part of No Reps Left Behind, to be able to give you guys more tools to again, take your sales career and knowledge and everything else that comes with it to that next level. I appreciate everyone joining in, guys. Thank you. Thank you. David, anything you want to end with, sir?
Put it to work, guys. Put it to use.
Keep being awesome, guys. See ya. Take a part of this, implement it. It's the only way you're going to get better. See ya.
See you guys.